we got some stuff on Brian Johnson to talk about here, and definitely want to go into some of the positions and that really stuck out to me that played really well, and one position that we really have to make a move. And I think the trade deadline is definitely going to be one of the active places for Howie Roseman this season.
You better turn around. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day today. So I want to go over some news for the Philadelphia Eagles. And the first thing I want to start off is with the linebacker position, because I have to say, I think the gelling of Zach Cunningham and Nicholas Morrow have been almost perfect. Not only is Nicholas Morrow, especially just has been a tackling machine this season, but at the same time, he knows how to shoot the gap. I think the defensive line really does help him when you have whether it's Jordan Davis taking or Jalen Carter, depending on the lineup that's taking and commanding those double teams. Nicholas Morrow has really stood out. Zach Cunningham has really stood out, and with Nakobe Dean being out now, there's definitely a lot to really question here. Like, what are the Eagles doing at linebacker once Kobe Dean finally comes back? Nicholas Morrow had 3 sacks in Sunday's game. Sunday's game. This is gonna be tough to put Nakobe Dean back into the mix. Now, I don't think they put Nicholas Morrow back to practice squad. I think the Eagles need to, I don't know, put another player back on the practice squad, which means you're going to be taking depth from another position that usually does dress up. That usually does dress up for, on Sundays. And, I think something has to be done here. I think they need to. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. A lot of Eagle fans now are starting to change their mind. Not really change their mind about Nakobe Dean, but really, not knowing what the unknown is going to be by the time that he does come back. So it should be interesting. I feel like I said, this team roster wise, okay, never mind what the size doing on defense, which we've been complaining about. The soft zone coverage, and we're just talking about the roster in general. And with the linebackers, I think you got 2 guys on 1-year deals right now, and you got a lot of value coming out of those 2 guys. And I think coming out of this season in 23, I think definitely one of them will be re-signed with the Philadelphia Eagles for the future. And I think Nicholas Morrow will be that guy, maybe Zach Cunningham, but because Morrow has been more with Sean Desai, if Sean Desai is not fired at the end of the year, or something happens with this defense, or we just get worse by the end of the year. I understand we're undefeated right now, but things do happen in a change of a couple games, few games, where this team is going to be at the end of the year, where it's playoff contention. What is the record going to be? And Nicholas Morrow could be a big re-sign at the end of the year. Was with the Bears with Sean Desai, and was drafted when he was, I think, the defensive quality guy when Vic Fangio was the defensive coordinator, because Sean Desai didn't become a defensive coordinator for the Bears until 21, and was successful in his system. And it looks like it's really paying off as of right now. So very happy with that. Now, I want to go over Brian Johnson. Okay, I understand the offense hasn't really been playing up to par, and I know that Jalen Hurts played his best game on Sunday. Okay, I understand that. Statistically, if you get a game in overtime, usually the stats are going to be good on both sides. So usually if you get a game in overtime, usually both teams have made mistakes. Big plays were made on both sides, and things do happen. But what about the relationship between Brian Johnson and Jalen Hurts? Is this more of a friendly relationship? Is there no business side to it? Because even last year, I remember that Texans game where the Eagles were throwing the ball so much. And I remember before we started running the ball in that Texans game, I remember Jalen Hurts going up to Shane Steichen and saying, dude, we need to run the ball badly. Are we getting that from Jalen Hurts and to Brian Johnson? Now, Brian Johnson has known Jalen Hurts his whole entire life. And I don't know, sometimes when you're too comfortable with somebody and it's more of a friendly, more on the friendly side than the business side, it does affect other parties of what's really going on. So, I mean, they're not showing it on TV. I could be perfectly wrong. This is just something that I've kind of thought, do they have too much of a friendly relationship? I thought going into this season they need to keep Brian Johnson. I didn't expect Brian Johnson to be the OC of this team. I expected Shane to be here after he actually lost the job of going to the Colts as the head coach. As the Panthers as the head coach. And I thought Shane Steichen was here to stay. And Brian Johnson had some interviews on for an offensive coordinator spot. Not going to be a head coach yet, but didn't expect what we were going to get this year. I know we're only 4 games in, but is this relationship between them two way too friendly and too personal to where they won't keep each other accountable? I don't know. I don't see Brian Johnson ever yelling at somebody on the sideline or having just that fire in him at times. Maybe he just deals with things differently when the time does come. So I don't know. I don't know really what to expect, but I am hoping it gets better. I'm hoping I'm not right. I'm hoping it's more on the business side of things and it's not too friendly to where Hurts doesn't get reprimanded or Hurts, is afraid to open his mouth to Brian Johnson because it's his offense and what he wants to do. But I think this offense has affected Jalen Hurts in certain ways where he does make big plays at times, but there's just some things that don't make sense with this offense where I think the big cop-out plays are, these QB run designs that, you're getting Jalen Hurts hit way too much. I think the first 3 weeks he got hit way too much. And I feel like it's the biggest cop-out play that we have right now, besides the tush-push that we always do. But those design QB runs do work at times, but they make it the main part of your offense where you go into, certain games where on 3rd and long, you do a design QB run or, you know what I mean? Or throw like a tight end screen that never works or certain things, or you're running with the wrong running back in red zone. Red zone's been a huge issue with the Philadelphia Eagles. Is Jalen Hurts giving Brian Johnson feedback that, I don't think Hurts has been comfortable in certain series of this season. When he's playing in the series, he doesn't look comfortable. He looks out of tone, out of touch. Sometimes he's not patient in the pocket. Sometimes he bails out, and there's times where he is patient, but nobody's open, and then, bad things happen. So I don't know what this relationship is and how it's progressing as the season is progressing, but it should be really interesting. So I don't, we'll check out on that. And I think lastly is Josh Jobe. I think the Eagles need to make a move by the trade deadline. I think the Eagles are going to be very active to shop for somebody. You have 1 injury at corner already. You get or 2 already, with Zach McPherson, now Avonte Max out for the year. Both of them out for the year. With Josh Jobe, I just don't think the Eagles are comfortable right now. God forbid, when Slay went down in the game, and, hopefully he's all right now. When Slay went down in the game, it changes your whole entire secondary. I'm kind of done putting Bradbury as the nickel spot. I'm just done with it as of right now. I think you go into the trade deadline, you go after a Jeremy Chin. You try to make something happen. You need a hybrid player right now, and I think he would be the perfect one to trade for. I know I've been saying his name a million times, but if it's not him, then it's going to be somebody else from another team that's on a 1-year deal, cap hit last year of his contract. Cap hit's not going to be that much. And I think the Eagles are definitely buyers at the trade deadline. And they could be sellers. You never know. If they plan to maybe do a player trade, or, they just want to take somebody off their hands or something like that. So it should be really interesting, but just want to get your feedback on the trade deadline in general. And Josh Jobe, I think, honestly, the nickel corner spot, I still think it's weak. Josh Jobe has been doing okay. I think as a situational corner where he's serviceable at times, I think he'll be good. As a starter the rest of the year, I don't think it's going to work out. I'm not defining Josh Jobe off of one play, but it's multiple plays. He's just not consistent. But I know we can't blame too much into these players because I know Sean Desai likes to play off the ball so much. So I can't put too much into that. But I think they need to add somebody to the secondary that can play more than one position. I think that's what they need to do. And other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think about the Brian Johnson situation. Is it too friendly? Is it just too much? Do you think they they're both, they both keep each other accountable? Nicholas Morrow, what happens when Dean comes back? And obviously, who would you get at the trade deadline? Is Josh Jobe a pure starter the rest of the year? For me, I don't think so. I think they need to do something here. It should be interesting. But you guys have a fantastic day. I'll see you guys on the next one. Shakes them up, follow. So peace out, guys. Peace.